Behind every product you buy at Clicks, there is a story of hope. You are supporting the dream of a courageous Duchess who not only empowers herself, but her family, her community, and society. Clicks is proud to partner with Conscious LeadHERS to put the spotlight on remarkable stories of resilience and innovation behind women-led suppliers. So today, I'm interviewing the phenomenal Gail Mabalane. How are you? I'm so excited. Oh my goodness.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I must tell you, the moment I met you, it was just this beautiful, fierce, soft energy I got from you. You are just such a beautiful soul.
Oh, thank you so much.
And not to mention the radiance and everything that comes along.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I did not wake up like this. There is some
Listen.
makeup and a lot of work. But thank you.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I went through your biographies and I thought, I'm not going to take away from you because you have got such a story to tell about your career. I mean, from acting on some of the biggest, on a local and international market, you have been trailblazing. So tell me a little about all of the amazing things that you've been up to.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride. I mean, I started off in the industry as an Idols contestant. I mean, apart from the other stuff that I did previous to that, and then made it to the top 10 and then eventually, got cast in a lead role on a show called The Wild on Mnet. And that really kickstarted my acting career. And it's been an incredible journey. I'm really, really excited about not only where I've come from, but where I'm going, because I think it was really just the tip of the iceberg, because you continue to grow. And just as I'm getting older, also continuing to just become more of myself and just synchronize who I am to the world and who I am, just as a person. And that's all coming together. That's how I know that there's more. And I'm really excited about that.
So I always like to start with the person in front of me. I believe we're all equals. And I think that it's important to also just for us as women to relate and to understand that we all have a story.
Yeah.
We all have our rise and our fall.
Absolutely.
And we all have the resilience within us and the courage to build whatever we put our minds to. I think the first thing that I would love to understand from you, who are you uninterrupted?
It's such a deep question because I'm a mom as well, so when you're a mom, you're constantly interrupted, which is a beautiful thing as well. But I think at the core of who I am very solid in my faith, and very much somebody who lives and leads with purpose. I think that my life is always rooted in the why. And as you grow older, you continue to learn what that why is, but it's always a bigger purpose than myself. And who I am is somebody who wants to impact the world on a big level that is beyond just myself getting the accolades for it, but hopefully point people in the direction that you too have that same power on the inside of you, and that can shine as brightly as you allow it to. But I think also age plays such a beautiful role in finding that uninterrupted self, because when you're younger, you're so impressionable. You just want to impress people. You want people to feel good about themselves. And so oftentimes we suppress or you interrupt yourself, because you don't want to come across a certain way. But I think I'm growing to be more secure in my skin, more secure in what it is I have to offer the world, more secure in the fact that I'm enough. And what I have to offer is valid and it's important. And there's a lot of liberation in that. And I think as I'm getting older, I think my uninterrupted self is just liberated. It's just free and liberated.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I listen to that and I go, so Conscious LeadHERS, one of the things, I woke up one day and I was just, I've been going through my own spiritual awakening and really finding myself and my courage to be who I want to be in the world and not holding back, because as you said, there's so much of us that it's done for everybody else around us. And then one day you wake up and you go, this is not me. Like, who is that? Well, I've been showing up for who?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think during that awakening, it was for me about how do I become so courageous that I can go so deep within and I can actually face the wisdom that already resides in me.
So true.
And I think for me, it changes the way that you see the world.
Yeah.
And you see the beauty in the world.
Absolutely.
And there was a stage where I was so scared, so scared. And I've been one of those women that was just so scared to have children because I feared the future. And I don't have children. My animals is everything. But I mean, listening to what you just said from your perspective is really profound and very deep, because woman to woman, it is so. It is such a beautiful time to be alive when you start fortifying yourself and just becoming
absolutely.
like this strong, fierce woman. And you're like, no, come, let's hold hands. We are moving forward. So
100%.
Wow. So how does brave show up in your life? Deep questions.
Yeah, bravery is very much to me that reaching into self. And because the thing is, life throws curveballs at us all the time. You think that for somebody, or people often think, or they look at someone and think they've got it all together. But every day we've got something that we're facing. So for me, it's constantly reaching deep down on the inside of me and finding that strength to show up for myself every single day.
Sure. Totally agree with you. I think also for us as women, when our cycles are happening and all of those things, we are always the ones that persist and go to work even throughout all of the agony and the pain.
100%.
I think that's also did something to our mental mindset. And also we're very inward beings. So very emotional. And it's something to be proud of, and something that I would love to hear your input about. I was sitting somewhere at a conference where a lady was talking about the trauma of soft skills and, being raised, being told to fit into the soft jobs, or, you shouldn't be aiming or have ambition for a boardroom. You should have the ambition to be a nurse or to be a teacher. And I think for me that was quite profound, because I never thought about it that way, and how women are now going into the world and they want to take up space. They want to do it. But how do we maintain our femininity whilst we added that we don't show up as men, because we have this trauma around soft skills, because the world needs it right now, and we don't really need to relearn it. No. It's something there. We just need to take the layers off.
Yes. Look, I mean, I think in my daily showing up as a person, we constantly faced with, especially, let me say, as a woman, you're constantly putting yourself or finding yourself in situations that are male driven or male dominated. Simple example, I need to take my car for a service. I get there. Oh, my car needs A, B, C, D. Predominantly, it's male dominated. And in that moment, I'm not a man, or I'm not having to show up as a man. I'm just going, listen, there's something wrong with my car and I need help, or I need to service it, and there isn't like this wall that I build up and go, okay, now I have to put on this brave, masculine energy to be able to face this situation. And I think it's the same even with different career paths or just life in general, showing up. I don't think if you are a woman, you can. I don't know if we have the ability to actually show up as men, because it's not in our makeup. It's not who I am intrinsically. I think if we lean into just what it is we bring to the party, because what we bring is valid and it's enough. It's the same as raising kids. What I bring and what my husband brings to my children is two completely different things. Granted, I see certain elements in them when he's not there that I go, okay, I need a daddy voice to just put, just say something here. And so his role is important, but so is mine. I'm the nurturer, and I'm the one that they come to and they need a cuddle. They go to him too, but it's a different kind of nurturing. And it's the same with just going into life, that yes, there can be trauma that we need to show up. And even with my kids, I think I'm very intentional. I've got a boy and a girl. And I'm very intentional about not boxing them and not saying to my daughter, no, but you're a girl, so you can't do that, or no, you're a boy, so you can't do that, and this whole idea that boys don't cry, or girls have the right to cry, and just equipping them with being themselves authentically. And the world will fall into that. The world will adjust. It's not us who have to adjust. you know. And I think oftentimes when we're raising our kids, we try and put them in this box to say, okay, so, you know, you must, you know, you're a girl, so you must dress in pretty pink. And I grew up as a tomboy, you know, I still am, you know, I'm always in sneakers. I'm wearing sneakers now, you know, so I'm always in sneakers. And to be unapologetic about it and not feel that it takes away anything from my womanhood, you know, and even walking into a room and being bold and being brave, even as a businesswoman, and saying, this is what I want. And if it doesn't work, it's okay, but I don't have to adjust who I am, because the world needs what I have to offer. The world needs it. Everybody brings something to the table.
That is so profound, so lioness. Love it. I was watching Sage Robbins last night, and she said something so profound. So Tony Robbins and her had a baby girl 3 years ago, and I think he's in his 60s. Like, it's a, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. And she said something so profound. She said, when she was pregnant, her only thoughts was, oh my word, how is this child going to fit into our lives? Like, it's so busy. There's so much going on. She's not going to fit in. And the moment she was born, it's almost like the whole universe got rearranged so organically and so naturally, and how she's part of their lives and travels with them, and how everything just worked out. Yeah. And I think that to me was just, wow, I've never thought about it that way. Just lean in.
Just lean in. And I think, you know, fear is our biggest limitation, because it's these things that we make up in our minds about what could go wrong and what could happen, and we haven't even reached that, and you disqualify yourself based upon something in the future that might never happen. It probably won't happen, you know. And even with having my kids, I think them fitting into our lives so organically is so profound, because even when I remember when I was pregnant with my second, I was so stressed, because I was like, oh, you know, I don't think I can love two of them the same way. It's impossible, you know. And I felt so guilty, because my daughter would ask, are you still gonna love me? You know, like, she was like 2.5, and I thought to myself, how am I gonna split myself between these two people equally? You know. And it is amazing, when the second one arrived, it was just organic.
Wow.
And we are created to be that. We are created to be able to have that on the inside of us. It comes so naturally, you know. And if you don't lean in and you want to sort of like manage, you know, this micromanage something that happens so organically, I think you just set yourself up for even more failure, you know. So it's been an incredible thing to also just watch them evolve, and me evolve as a person, because you think kids come into the world for you to teach them, but they're actually coming to teach us a whole lot about ourselves.
Listen, I tell you, and if you don't have children, I'm telling you, those lessons come in a different way.
They come in a different way. Listen, I mean, even with your animals, I mean, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
They come to teach you so much about yourself.
Absolutely.
It is the world, you know, you'll find a way to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lessons got to be learned.
Yes.
What I want to talk to you about is sisterhood. And how important sisterhood is in your life. And what do you expect of a sisterhood?
I don't know if I would survive without a sisterhood. It plays such a vital role in my life. I have incredible women around me. I grew up with a mom who's pretty solid. You know, I mean, she passed away 17 years ago, but she was solid. And she had a sisterhood. And then I've got a younger sister who's 4 years younger than me. And I've had an older brother who passed away. So my sister and I, my dad passed away. So my sister and I, it's the two of us left from our family. And we have an incredible bond. And I don't know what I would do without her. And then I've got this, you know, this sea of, and it's not a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of women holding me up. But the ones that do are solid. And it means the world to me. I mean, I have situations in my life where I just can't. I just cannot bear the thought of how am I actually going to get through this? And all it takes is a phone call. Whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, or just let's do lunch, let's do coffee, let's just talk. I think we underestimate the value of community. You know, this whole idea that, you know, it takes a village. It takes a village to do so much more than just raising a child. It takes a village to do life. I don't think it's healthy to live in isolation. My sisters have held me up in moments where I thought, I'm ready to give up. I've gotten to the end of myself. I've reached the end of the rope. And then all it takes is a good laugh, you know, or a phone call or a cup of tea, or let's go do our nails, or whatever the case might be, just to reconnect with somebody who gets me, who understands me, who shares my values, who knows where I'm trying to get to, who sees in me more than at times what I see in myself. Somebody who can say to me, no, but not only are you wrong sometimes, but also you are undervaluing yourself. What you see is way more than what we see. Like, what we see is way more than what you see in yourself. And it's been, I was having a chat to my friend who lives overseas now yesterday, and it's a different time zone, and we spoke for like 2.5 hours, and we're like, oh, we should do vacation together. We should actually go away together and just reconnect on that level. It is so crucial. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
There's so much that we're pouring into all day long, whether it's your kids, your work, your business, people, whatever it is that we do. And sometimes you just need to stop and refuel. And I find that I can refuel with my sisters. I can refuel whether we pray together, whether we just talk, whatever the case might be, but they fill my cup, and then suddenly I'm full and I have something to pour again. So for me, it's very healthy and a vital part of just my existence, and I have women of all ages. I've got women who are younger than me, I've got women who are much older than me, and women who are slightly older, women my age, because everyone plays a different role, and I'm very grateful for that circle.
It makes me so happy to hear what you say, because I think one thing that I've learned out of sisterhood is the importance of how our brave shows up differently in our lives all the time. Yeah. And sometimes when somebody else is more courageous at that moment, you can almost pull from it and say, okay, I don't have it right now, but you're inspiring me so much.
True.
Let me hijack a little bit of that inspiration.
So true.
And I think this is so important, is to surround yourself with women, so that, as you go through the ebbs and flows of life, that you can be there for each other, to keep each other as a collective
hold
brave.
Each other up.
Yeah.
Hold each other up, because, it's the same as marriage. And I think it's the same within a sisterhood, where the saying that says, two people are barely strong at the same time.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, somebody's here and you're here, and you just need a little bit of that to hold you up, and when it's the other way around, then you hold them up. So I think it is like this constant throughout life, this constant flow of, like you say, ebbs and flows constantly. We don't show up every day the same, and on the days where you're like, today I need to be replenished, I'm depleted, and to know where to draw that from. It is an incredible part, and a very crucial part, I believe, just of life and just going through life. I value it more than I think I care to admit.
Yeah. And it always speaks to that thing, although, when you have fears, name it to tame it, where you label your fears.
Yes.
I always find that very profound, but I also think it's important to label your courage and label where you are going through a certain stage, or when you are identifying where that courage all of a sudden came from, is to label it, so that when you don't have it, to know where to find it.
That's so good.
Yeah. But I'm interested to know, because we're almost leaning into a heroine's journey now. You've been on stages and acting and playing roles, and you have to take on a character of somebody else. First of all, I don't know how you remember the scripts. I just have to say that is I think it's my brain fog brain, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you remember the scripts. But apart from that, how can you say one of the characters that you've played, or what is one of the characters that you've played that have taught you so much about yourself?
Every role it taps into a part of who you are, and sometimes parts that you never knew existed on the inside of you, or you tap into what is like for other people to live, because you get a glimpse into what it is like to be that person. But for me, it would have to be the latest character that I played on Netflix, a show called Unseen, and the character's name is Zenzi, and oh my goodness, Zenzi threw me into, I think, the deepest, darkest pit, emotionally.
Yeah.
It was extremely, I think, the most challenging but the most rewarding character that I've ever played. Here's this woman who's a cleaner, and is unseen, really, because that's pretty much how it is like for people who are sort of in certain industries, you know, how we look at them, whether we see them, we don't see them, whether they even exist, you know, within our homes, when they come and do certain things for us. And here's this unseen woman, and she goes on this journey to try and find her husband, and has to draw from the inside of herself the resilience and the strength to fight for her family, and to fight for her husband, her son, her life, you know, to fight for herself. And I think it was an emotional character. I needed a lot of therapy after playing that role.
Yeah.
And I carried a lot of the tension in my body, so I also needed a lot of physio. But it really taught me that everything we have is on the inside of us. Every single thing. And we don't often know it because the fear is so overwhelming, or the trauma can be overwhelming. But everything that we need to draw from is on the inside of us. And that role, I shot it in Cape Town. I was away from my family for 4 months. And I was also not 100% healthy. There was just, I don't even know what was happening. It was just a weird season. And so even within the character, but also within my own self, I needed to tap within me to be able to bring this character to life. And it just shows me that, you know, do it afraid. You know,
I love that.
Do it afraid. Do it scared. Do it not knowing what's coming. Just go and do it. Just do it. I think we always wait for the opportune moment for things to show up, for things to happen. When this lines up, when this aligns, then it's time. Do it afraid, you know. And for me, that pretty much that season, that's what it sums up. It doesn't matter how scary it looks. Just go and do it, because you don't know what's on the other side of it. Because, I mean, I didn't think I was going to be able to pull the character off because of fear, but I did it afraid, and Unseen became the most watched show that's ever come out of Africa. You know, so on the other side of just stepping out and going, I'm doing it afraid, comes, you know, there's this feeling of, wow. And now I know that every time I'm afraid, do it. It's taught me something for my future, right? It's not just for that. Every time I'm like, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure. I know to lean into my faith and just go, you can do all things because he strengthens you. So go for it, you know?
That is deep.
Yeah.
Do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's the thing we always run away from, but it's like, if it's almost, it's like a Nike, like, just do it. Just do it afraid.
Just do it afraid.
I love it. Just wow.
Everything that I think is worth achieving, that you achieve, I think many people who have achieved it will tell you, I didn't know half the time what I was doing. I just failed forward. Yeah. You know, just continue to fail forward. And even if you don't have all the stars are not aligned or everything is not in a row for you to go step, just take the next step and do it, you know.
And what's your view on imposter syndrome?
Oh my goodness. What? Oh my goodness. Imposter syndrome is a real thing.
Yeah.
It shows up all the time. And that is part of why I was so fearful with this character, because it was my first ever proper lead role. You know, I mean, sure. I've sort of been in shows and I've led and hearing, but this was my big break. And so the imposter syndrome took over. I was like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can do it. I have a speaking engagement next week and I'm like, I'm not sure. Why did they choose me? Wait, why me? What do I have to say? It shows up all the time. And it goes back to just showing up afraid. Do it afraid. Because if I'm going to succumb to the insecurity, which is also something that I battled with and continue to battle with, you know, just feeling like I'm not sure of myself. But I think the importance is to find your identity in something that's bigger than you, because if you find your identity in yourself, then the chances are you will fail continuously, because we all make mistakes and we all fall sometimes and we all have moments where we don't feel 100% ourselves. And if I have to depend on that to keep me from showing up, then I won't show up. But if I depend on something that's bigger than me, you know, I can go, I'm not going to do it in my own strength. Yeah. You know, so I don't have to worry. All I need to do is show up and depend on a power that's bigger than me.
You know, you touch on something so important, because this conversation, I'm sure in your sisterhood, it's also identity. Identity is all we talk about all the time.
Yes.
And what's really interesting to me is also this identity crisis that we face.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think that it ties into not listening to your heart. It's every decision is all the head decisions that you're making.
Yes.
Because I think if you make more decisions from the heart.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just my own theory. But if you make more decisions from your heart, perhaps you wouldn't have an identity crisis.
Of course. Sure.
And I think that so many times we put everybody ahead of us, and we do it out of love. But I think if we also recognize that we need to love ourselves and make a lot of decisions, sometimes if your heart tells you it's not the right thing to do, it's not the right thing to do. But if your head tells you it's the right thing to do, that's where the errors come, and you're learning all the lessons that you really could avoid. Yeah, you could avoid it.
Yeah, because oftentimes the heart gives you the motive. The heart tells you the why. You know, in your head, you doing it for the sake of doing it, whether it is because everybody else is doing it or you want to look cool or whatever the case might be. But when you go into your heart and there's a still small voice that speaks to you, you can literally understand that the motive behind it. And when there's motive, that's why I said everything comes back to the why. Yes. It all comes back to, why am I doing this? You know, am I doing it to fit in? Am I doing it because it's the in thing? I mean, social media has played a big role in our identity crisis because we've got this pressure to post. You know, I used to be like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted in a week. Oh my goodness. Now I'm just like, I'll post when I have something to say. And when I don't have anything to say, I'm not posting. Otherwise, I'm manufacturing something that is not really what's in my heart. I'm making it up for the sake of just being present on social media. But if I actually have something to say or something to post or something to share, then I will share. But if I don't, there's no pressure, because if people unfollow me because I don't post often enough, then maybe they shouldn't be there. Totally. You know? So the identity crisis, I think, has also been contributed in a big way by social media, and this desire for us to fit in, desire to be liked, desire to grow our social media numbers or whatever the case might be. And then we lose our authenticity in that, because then you end up just doing what everyone else is doing, and you're not really staying true to what's happening on the inside, you know?
I once had a conversation with a client, and she said to me something so profound. She said, Carmen, you know, sometimes I walk around with this invisible handbag. Like it's all parts of me that's in this handbag. And when I step into rooms or into the boardroom, there's certain things that I have to keep in the handbag, because I can't bring my true self to the table. I have to bring out what's suitable for those around the table. And, you know, it really made me so sad that those spaces are still not created where we can show up who we are. And especially if you do the work and you are that healed person and, you know, you go deep to go bold outside, you know. I find it still very strange that a lot of women are prohibited to bring their authenticity. And I was, I'm busy with a research study, and one of the ladies said something so profound. We are still being told we are too emotional. Like what is that all about? Like the disconnect. And I think it's a beauty of us is being so emotional, and it's what connects us to the world, and we feel things.
The world needs it.
It needs it right now.
The world needs it. I mean, I don't believe that, you know, God would have put it there in us if it wasn't a tool for us that we can use. It's not just there for the sake of being there. It's there for purpose. And I think I see it even in within my household, right? Like I said, my husband has a different perspective of things than I do, you know, and in raising our kids, both are vitally important. It's important for me to bring my emotions to the table because there's something that needs to be, whatever the case might be, it's needed in whatever moment. And so I see it even with businesses, you know, people who run businesses where maybe there aren't any women. You can tell there's something missing, you know.
It feels very sterile.
Yeah, there's like, no, man, where's the heart in all of this? You know, you can literally feel it. You can sense it, and you can see how they show up to the world. You can see how the business presents itself to the world. So it's a crucial thing. And I think and maybe it is an age thing. I don't know. I'm turning 40 this year, so I'm bringing it up so much.
You should. You're going to the fourth floor.
Going to the fourth floor. And there is something so incredibly securing about just that whole idea that I can just show up as myself. And it comes with age. I do believe that as you get older, you also start realizing, oh, so this whole time when I was actually trying to be fitting in, did it really work in my favor? What did it do for me? Did it really help me? No, you know. So showing up as yourself is the most liberating feeling ever, you know. And I think it is so important, even if it comes with emotion, or especially if it comes with emotion, because that's where we communicate from, you know. And it's a skill and it's a gift, and we should use it.
Oh, that's beautiful. I want to ask you a completely different question. Personal branding, right? So Many women don't like to talk about their achievements and putting it out in the world. But I always feel like it's almost like having a radio station, having it all set up and having it on mute.
Oh, wow.
You know?
That's deep.
I feel that if you don't talk about it, why are we waiting for other people to talk about it? Because if it's not going to happen, you're going to become resentful.
Oh, that's so deep.
And just go within yourself. And if you've done it, it's not something that takes away from your humbleness. There's a way in how you can do things.
Yeah.
You can do it from a place of arrogance, or you can do it from a place of, oh my gosh, I'm actually proud of myself. And I wonder sometimes, where did this disconnect happen? Where we as women feel, I can't celebrate myself, or I can't say, wow, congratulations, you've done something really remarkable there. Why do we feel it's such a bad thing? And talking about it.
Sure. I mean, I'm guilty of that.
No, I know, we all are.
I am so guilty of that, because you don't want to blow your own trumpet. I think just as women, we don't like putting ourselves on pedestals. It's always about somebody else. It's always about, everybody else around us. It's never about us. And I don't know where that disconnect took place, because, I'm learning now, I'm forcing myself to celebrate even the small gains. Doesn't matter how small it is, my birthday's coming up, and often you're like, I don't really want to do a big thing. And I'm like, no, I don't know what big looks like, but I'm celebrating myself because I made it.
Yes.
I made it to 40. Yeah. I'm proud of what I've achieved. I'm proud of the strides that I'm making. I'm proud of the woman I continue to become. But we hardly pause. And what's interesting is we are quicker to get together and cry. We're quicker to go, oh, this went wrong. We're quicker to have a funeral for that little thing that went wrong. But it takes us longer to just step out and go, listen, I need to celebrate whatever this tiny achievement is. And I think it is that whole thing that we don't want to make it about ourselves. We shrink ourselves. Oftentimes you find that, let me make myself smaller so somebody else can shine. Or let me make myself smaller because I don't want to come across as, and you're right in saying that it's not necessarily, you celebrating yourself is not arrogance, right? Because sometimes you also just need to pat yourself on the shoulder and go, well done. I'm proud of you. And how often do you look at, as a woman, do you look at your 16-year-old self and go, wow.
Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah.
You did that. You overcame this. My mom died when I was 21.
Sure.
So to look back and go, look at the life that you've been able to build for yourself. We don't pause to do that, and I think a lot of the times also we are just living in the future. We're living for the next thing. It's just the thing, how life is now. We barely pause. We're just living for what's coming. So even mentally, we're not even content where we are. So even I've seen it with myself. Even you achieve this great show, which is doing so amazingly well, and you're like, yeah, but what's next? Instead of going, no, hang on, pause. I think we're living on this treadmill of just what's next, what's next, versus no, actually take stock, be present in the moment, and actually teach yourself to just embrace what this moment means and showing up for yourself in this very moment, because I think we are so geared to just worry about what's next. We're so futuristic in our approach of life that we barely stop and pause and go, no, this is where I'm at. And I see it with my kids, they're on holiday now. They're on holiday for a month.
Sure.
Which is amazing for them. But every day I have to remember, that yes, there's work to do, but I have this moment every day. It's not something that comes naturally, to most people. You wake up and you've got so much to do. I've got to do this, I've got to do that, but they're home and they'll never be this age. Tomorrow they'll be a day older. Wow. And then, and I think it's the same with our achievements. We reach something and we overcome something, or we achieve this goal, and you forget that, wow, this is something I once prayed for. Now it's here.
Wow.
You're just so quick to go, I'll move on to the next thing. There is. So it's also a lesson for me. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, it's such an important thing. I remember when I graduated last year, doing my degree, somebody gave me advice and said, Carmen, I hope you've taken time to actually celebrate for a week. Yeah. And just sit with the fact that you have done something really remarkable for yourself.
Incredible.
And I think being present, and because we're so multifaceted, and we we give so much of ourselves everywhere. Being present is the only way that we can give that little bit of time we can give to our mothers, or a little bit of time that we can give to our children, is being present, because that you don't have that element of guilt.
Yes.
As long as you know that you're giving yourself in that moment, less guilt will show up.
Very true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah. As we're talking about achievements, I want to talk about your achievements.
Oh, here we go.
Let's celebrate
This
you.
is where the blush comes naturally.
So you have a very successful line, Ethnogenics, and I believe it's a pandemic baby.
Yes.
So pandemic baby is that rebirth that happened after the pandemic.
Yes.
And I think maybe let's take it a step back. I mean, what caused you to start a beauty product? Because, starting a line is very difficult.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think that it's also having a physical product to sell, especially after a pandemic, is a very bold thing to do.
It's very bold.
So talk to me, where did it come from, and what was the whole intent and the problem that you're trying to solve?
Yeah. So, Ethnogenics, my third baby. So interestingly, I shot a show a couple of years ago, and I had to do this hairstyle that required me to put my hair in a bun, which I did, and it was all fun and games. I used gel, and it was great. And then after the show, I went to wash it off, and half my hair was gone. I had this big I had this big hole in the back of my head with no hair, like this whole little piece here at the top of my head was gone. It was red, it was inflamed, it was itchy, it was sore. And the hairstylist where I went to the salon was so shocked. He didn't even know what to do. He didn't know what it was. So he washed my hair, and then he plaited it to sort of cover. He plaited it up to sort of cover this big bald patch.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks later, I realized it's getting bigger. I was like, oh my gosh, I've always had good hair. I've never had issues with my hair. Growing up, I've always, even when I came into the industry, I used to have this pixie haircut, and it was quite a thing, So this for me was like, what is going on? I've never struggled with hair. What is this? So a friend of mine luckily recommended that I go see a dermatologist, which is also something I never connected. You don't connect. Many people don't connect hair loss with dermatology. That's very true. Right? You think hair loss, but it is a skin condition. I mean, for you to lose your hair, it's, usually related to your skin. So I went to see my dermatologist, and she did a biopsy and found out that I have a certain form of hair alopecia. I need treatment. So she gave me steroid injections and gave me treatment to go on about my day and to try and heal this inflamed area that was just getting bigger and redder and sore. And when I was with her, I had this conversation with her. I said, well, which products am I going to use now? Because I don't want to use anything that's going to damage my scalp even further. And I researched, and I realized I really struggled to find a product that would support my regrowth. I struggled to find a product that would support me in just treating what the problem was. And so I started mixing stuff at home, like sort of basic things, putting together creams and oils, and to try and just keep my hair clean while I'm going through this process. And my hair grew back, thank goodness, but I do have a patch at the top of my head that left a scar, because the kind of alopecia I have is CCCA, which is a scarring alopecia. And if you don't treat it, it leaves a scar. It forms a scar. And hair can't grow through a scar. So I have a little patch at the back of my head where my hair doesn't grow. And from time to time, if I'm doing stuff like this, braids and pulling, my dermatologist, hope you're not watching, then, it can get inflamed again. Then I need to go back and get treatment. And sometimes she gives me a topical cream to apply or whatever. So that then put me on this journey to try and find a product or create one that works for my regrowth. And I started, in obviously COVID, we were home, we were like stuck at home and, stuff to do. Let's mix, let's research. And I realized that I actually was able to come up with something that was able to assist in my regrowth process. And so I spoke to my dermatologist about it, and she's like, yeah, we actually do need a product like this. So I then journeyed on to find a factory, incredible group of women, to formulate this product, and do it obviously professionally, because mine was made in my kitchen. Do it professionally, a product that speaks to, first of all, not only showing up as yourself, because we also have this conversation often about the kind of trauma as Black women that we put our hair through. it's a real thing. You know, there's a lot that happens. And I think what happened with me is I shared my hair loss. I posted a picture of my head completely bald because I had to shave everything off. And I posted a picture and I shared my story, and I just had this flood of women go, hang on, this is happening to me. Wait, this is happening. I have the problem. I have that problem. And we're all hiding behind wigs and dukes and all these kind of things, you know, that we don't speak about. And it became a real thing for me because suddenly there was purpose behind it. I had a skincare range, body range that I launched about 9 years ago when my daughter was born. And it failed. And I know why it failed. It's because there was no purpose behind it. There was no why behind it. There was nothing bigger than myself behind it. And so when this happened and all these women were coming at me like, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. What did you do? What did you use? How did you do it? I felt it was my responsibility to not only share my hair loss journey, but to be part of the solution. And so we formulated this incredible product which supports in the regrowth of hair. We've got real issues like hairlines are disappearing. CCCA is very common amongst Black women. I have in my inbox daily women DMing me, you know, what did you use? What can I do? Where can I go? So it's a real pandemic on its own. And I just really wanted to be part of the solution and really wanted to contribute positively to giving women answers and becoming a face. I mean, September is Alopecia Awareness Month. And every month I create awareness around hair loss because it's also this shame, right? That we carry with us, that you're losing your hair. And I mean, the first thing I did, I said, braid it up and cover it, you know. And then afterwards, I thought, no, I need to go public. And when I did, it was not only liberating, but it was also empowering for women who were watching and going, oh, I struggle with the same thing. And there was this community that was built because for some women, their hair doesn't grow back, you know. And then there's the whole identity thing and finding who you are and being comfortable and content and still showing up as yourself, irrespective. Because we, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it just really tugged at my heart when I realized there's so many women that struggle with this. So the product was formulated and launched and is doing very, very well.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Listen, you just touched on something so profound, and I just want to quickly go there. I don't know if you watch 90 Days. Do you watch 90 Days?
What's 90 Days?
Okay, you don't watch 90 Days.
Not the fiancé one. 90 Days
Yeah.
fiancé. Yeah.
Okay.
I watch it sometimes.
So I don't know which one we're watching, but 90 Days, there's a lady by the name of Jasmine.
Okay.
She does all the plastic surgery all the time, but she has the same condition, and the insecurity that she has.
Yeah.
Is actually like she tries to do other things to her body all the time to try and compensate for her hair.
And take away from that.
And she continuously gets very insecure about that. And it is truly, you know, courageous Duchess. This is our crown and glory, right?
Yeah.
And the moment, you know, your hair doesn't work out, it really does get to us.
Yeah. But the thing is also, it's what society has told us, you know, because who am I without my hair? Am I suddenly somebody different? Am I suddenly not this courageous Duchess, you know? Am I suddenly not able to show up authentically as myself because I don't have hair? I think we've put, yes, it's a beautiful thing to have, but I think to also put so much emphasis on its importance then takes away from the fact that, but what do you do without it? It's the same as my career. If I find my identity in being an actress, what do I do when I stop booking jobs? Do I suddenly now am I suddenly now operating outside of who I am authentically? That there's so much more to us than how we show up physically, you know? But it is a thing, because I mean, I had a woman DM me and say, I'm getting married in a month, and my husband doesn't know that I have no hair. You know, I go to bed with a doek, I wake up first and I put it back on, or whatever the case might be, or whether it's a wig or whatever the case might be, you know? And I think for me, that is heartbreaking. If you can't show up as yourself, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, there are people who struggle with skin conditions. There are people who struggle with other kind of physical stuff that they have to wear because they can't hide it. But we have this thing that we can hide. I mean, even with me, I've got braids. And I did the braids because I did a shoot for my product. That's why I did my braids. I stay away from them. But I did my braids. But because I've got the patch, I've constantly got to just position them at the top of my head so that it doesn't just open up and, you know, and I've spoken about it publicly. Everybody knows it's there, But it's still this thing that I have to go, oh, let me just position them, I mean, I'm not insecure anymore. I'm just like, nah, I just don't want it to show. Let's just cover it, And my daughter now is like, oh, mommy, come, let's help. And then she positions it for me. When I've got my natural hair, it's quite thick, so it covers it, so you can't really see it unless I cut my hair short. Wow. But it is an insecurity. It is a thing that goes, you've got this, and it's amazing for women because we put so much emphasis on it. And what we do in the process is we cause more damage because now you're gluing your wig to your hairline, and every time you remove the wig, it comes off with your hairline. Or you braid, which, pulls the tension, whatever. And for me, it was really just about creating a platform for education, creating a platform where I could share this message with women and empower them with knowledge. Because when we know better, we do better. Now that I know I've never used chemical, my daughter's got the most incredible afro. I'm teaching her to take care of it. I'm teaching her to embrace it and to love it and to nurture it and to know how it works, because oftentimes we also just don't know how it works. So you're like, let me just relax and put on a wig or whatever, But now when you have the knowledge, you can pass it on. And I think we'll see a generation of younger kids coming up and going, I can wear my crown with pride, and I don't have to alter myself. And there's nothing wrong with wigs. I've got wigs, and it's great to be able to change up, your look from time to time, but have the knowledge to know what it does to your scalp. Because if your scalp's not breathing, and we've also got this thing where we put a lot of oil and, basing our scalps, and your scalp's just screaming for some fresh air, and clogging the pores. And there's so much information out there. And I think my responsibility is to share it to the best of my ability.
My question to you is, everybody's talking a lot about perimenopause. I'm going through perimenopause. My body has changed a lot. Actually, my hair about I would say a year and a half ago, I lost so much of my hair. My hair was like long. Wow. I had to cut it because I started losing hair. And the reason I'm asking you this question is because something is changing in our bodies as well, which amplifies everything that's wrong in your body.
Absolutely.
So if you have this condition, when you start going through perimenopause, it is going to get amplified. And that I've learned from seeing the various doctors. So have you experienced some women going through menopause also using your products, etc.? Do you have any stories for us?
So what's been incredible is it's been such a range of women, because everything from breastfeeding to pregnancy and stress and anxiety and menopause, all these things contribute to the quality of our hair, which is why it was important for me to do the vitamin. They've got a hair vitamin which is really, really selling very well. It's one of our biggest sellers, just to supplement whatever it is our bodies are losing, because also with menopause there's just so much that happens in our bodies that just gets reconfigurated. Suddenly you're losing bone mass, you're doing this is happening. And so to the best of our ability, trying to replenish whatever it is that the body is losing or the body's not able to manufacture by itself, we try and do that. So we've had incredible stories of women who are going through menopause using particularly the vitamin, the hair growth supplement. We've also got a stimulating scalp lotion which goes directly onto the scalp that you massage in. And obviously I would always recommend, and I say this every time I have an opportunity to speak, is always get it properly diagnosed, because there's different kinds of alopecia that you can't really, I can't diagnose somebody over online, or with a phone call. It's always, I can look at it and say, oh, this looks like something I have, but please consult a dermatologist, get it properly diagnosed, because there might be other factors. There's people struggling with lupus and, certain medical conditions, where they experience all these kind of things. And you have to, this is a hair product. There's nothing in it that would clash with any sort of medication, but it's always helpful to know, oh, my scalp is inflamed, so I need to get, treatment for the inflammation so that I can bring the inflammation down and then create a healthy scalp environment for my hair to grow. So menopause is a big one. And I think even for me, as I'm going into my fourth floor, I've started doing even more research, because I want to make sure that I'm equipped to know, to expect it, but also to know what it is that I can do to minimize it, but it's a real thing. Why do we have to go through all these things as women?
Seriously, it is insane. I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount of hair product that I have to use, but at least my hair is
your hair is gorgeous.
A bit stronger.
No, it's beautiful.
But I can't do it on my own this. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Hashtag. But Now I want to ask you a question. So you got into Clicks, and it's actually quite recent because now, wait, you said pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's 3 years?
Yes, 2022, say 2021, 2022.
I mean, that is quite an achievement because, getting into a large retailer, you really have to prove yourself before they're going to take you on.
Yeah.
So how did that journey begin?
So when I first started, like I said, my body care range, I did it all on my own, and I was also stupidly put in a lot of my own money into it, and lost a lot of money. And as much as I say it failed, it really was school fees. You do it and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that again. And this time around, I think I was very strategic in partnering because I'm an actress. I do what I do, and I go on to set maybe 3, 4, 5 months at a time, and I can't always manage whatever's happening with my business. If a truck is stuck somewhere with stock and I'm on set, there's nothing I can do because we shoot for 12 hours and my phone is usually not on me. And so it was very important for me to partner with people who are going to assist me with my logistics side, to be able to make sure that the business continues even though I'm doing other stuff. But I had the opportunity to come in front of Clicks and have basically pitch this idea to and I've pitched even my body care range, and that didn't go anywhere. But I think the reason why Clicks was so excited about this partnership or bringing this product onto their shelves is because of the why. And I think if you're able to, somebody, I can't remember who it was, the quote, it says that if you're on fire, people will come and watch you burn. They will. If you're on fire for something, people will come and watch you burn. And I think I had such a fire and passion for this hair loss and just the women that I've been connecting with, and really just wanting to be part of a solution and pleading to be part of the answer, to create a platform where women can authentically speak about these things. Because, we like I said earlier, it's such a shame that people find shame in hair loss. It's this thing that we hide and cover up, and we think it's something we did wrong, and you just feel like the small little person. I remember what I felt when my hair fell out. You feel so small, and you think everyone's looking at it. You think, oh my gosh, even when I'm standing in the queue, you think the person standing behind you is looking right at your head and going, geez, okay, that looks weird. But people are doing their own thing, But I just had this desperate desire to get the answers to women, to speak to them. And that's what I appeal to them, to say, look, I've got this incredible product, but the product is one thing. The product is a result of being an empowering figure. I have the ability to influence because I've got people who watch me and know me and follow me, and I want to use it for a purpose beyond myself. I don't just want to make it about me being famous, but can I actually use that to empower somebody? And I think in that meeting, I think that's what they were drawn to, the why. Why am I doing this? And it was bigger than me. And I think that'll always speak volumes.
That is very profound. So I just want to put a pin in this one because it is so important to realize, and I always, with the conscious leaders and with the ladies, I always tell them, you're building a personal brand, not from a place of ego. You're building it so you can get into the rooms where you want to bring the change.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
That is how you need to think about
100%.
Think about why you're doing certain things. Every single thing needs to have that why and how you are 100%. Doing it and knowing what the outcome needs to be.
Imagine being famous for the sake of being famous. I mean, imagine having influence and just sitting with it. I think all of us, we have to sit for a moment and go, hang on, it's always been bigger than myself. I don't think our platforms are given for self-fulfillment. Yeah, I mean, it's work for me, but there's a greater purpose that's beyond myself. And I think I constantly strive to find what that is, and it is constantly evolving. But there's definitely, for me at that moment, it was the first thing I thought when I lost my hair. I was like, I need to share this. And I was completely blown away by the amount of women that are struggling with the same thing. I mean, I was sharing it firstly because I didn't want to get to a salon and people go, oh, did you see? I was like, I was sharing it because I wanted to be the first one to go, yes, it happened to me. That was one of the main reasons. But when I got the feedback, I was like, what? So it's not just me? So can we start then having this dialogue? Can we talk about it? How can we empower each other? How can we share information? And how can we tell each other that we're still enough? You're still okay. You're still enough. Because there's some alopecia, some forms where it just will never grow back.
Sure.
And how do you then say we still see you and you're still enough?
Yeah.
I am not my hair, I am not the length of it. I'm not the thickness of it. Yeah, it's nice to be able to have it, but it doesn't define who I am, and I think for me, I still am just very passionate about that narrative.
Yeah. And what I love about this, the previous interview that we did was with Rela Bohile, and what I loved about what she was talking about, she had a car accident, 150 stitches in her face, 1 month in ICU.
Crazy.
And that must be such a profound paradigm shift in your life, because the whole world tells you to validate what you look on the outside.
Exactly.
But it really is all about finding what it makes me so special, and how she managed to find her way. And she also created a product from her crisis, and it's doing so well. And I truly believe, like, if you understand your why, but also if you're creating it from a problem that many other people are going
benefit
through,
from, yes,
but the messaging is right.
Absolutely.
I think the messaging for me is, it's not just like buy.
No,
this is a product that you need, for your journey, that can help you, and we'll hold your hand,
because people are buying into hope.
Yes,
they're buying into hope, and they're buying into something. It's not just a product. It's like they take it and they pick it up, and they are hopeful that it's going to impact their lives positively. I had a product, like I said, that it was there, but people didn't buy it because it was mine. Like, oh, she's on TV, let's buy her product. No, now they're buying it because there's purpose behind it. They want an answer from it, and they're hopeful that it's going to impact their journey. And I keep in touch with every single woman. When they DM me, keep me posted, send me pictures. How's it going? Did you go to see the dermatologist? What did she put you on? It's such a personal walk that I have with many of these women, and it's so rewarding. It makes my journey so worthwhile, because I didn't just lose hair for the sake of losing it, but there's actually purpose that's come from it. That there's a message from the mess. There's always a message in your mess. Yes, it's so true. 100%. I could talk to you all day long. I know. I mean, like, seriously, this was so much fun. I wish you could have been here. Should have a live audience. We should definitely. I think in closing thought, if you could give any message to the audience back home, what would you want the parting message to be if they want to embark on a journey of starting their own business? I think it's coming back to what I said earlier, which is do it afraid. Do it afraid. We don't have all the stuff lined up. We don't know. You just don't know. If I never took the plunge and went, okay, I'm launching this product, I'm approaching Clicks, who have also been incredibly gracious, because they're also all about empowerment and all about supporting small businesses. And also, I think this idea of empowering women with knowledge is also something big for them. And if I never did it, I would have never been where I am today. So starting the business, and for me, I think one of the things I learned also is don't be afraid to start small. We've got this big idea of, one day I want to build this incredible, business, but don't be afraid to start with one product. Yeah. When we first launched the business, we had 5 products, and now the range is growing. We've got 13 products, and it continues to grow. Don't be afraid to start small, because in starting small, there's the opportunity to go, oh, okay, this is where the error lies. I can fix this. I can adjust this. I can do something different with this, and learn as you grow, but do it afraid. That nobody has the whole staircase rolled out for them. Yes. Sometimes all is the next step. Is I need to take this next step. Okay, what needs to happen on this step? I need to do my research. The next step, I need to do my business plan. The next step, just take the next step and do it afraid. Because at the other end of me stepping out of my fear is people's hair growing. Yeah. That's at the other side of it.
Wow, that's so profound. So I just want to say thank you to the audience for sticking around. This was such a deep conversation. We've touched on so many deep things that we as women go through. So thank you so much for being so vulnerable and so audacious, and for being a courageous Duchess. We celebrate you, and thank you for all the amazing things that you're doing out there. And what's next?
I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, I'll do it afraid. I don't know. There you go. Next, I'm on holiday with my kids and making the most of it, and just continuing to grow and challenge myself.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap from us. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye now. Dun, 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 dun.